Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to week number 3, Siege of Middenheim. An adventure path that follows our intrepid adventurers down the climactic conclusion of the 50-session game that we played previous to this that spanned for a little over a year with some weeks off. I'm glad you all could be here. Glad you all, if this is your first time watching this, welcome. If it is not your first time watching this, welcome back. Today, we're going to get into some aftermath of the very high pace, fast action things that happened in the previous session, which we'll detail to catch everybody back up. Right now, it looks like we're just waiting for Liam to pop his beautiful, glorious head in, and then we'll go ahead and get started here without too much problem. Again, I'd like to say thank you all for being here. Let me go ahead and. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Whew, yeah, we did it. However, without further ado, we can go down the list and see how our crew has been doing in the week that we took off. Because everybody needs breaks from RPG every now and then. I'm gonna unmute myself. We'll see what kind of weird thing they're talking about, and we'll see what they've all been doing for a week. Because I know you all are here for them, not for me. That's kind of the point of the whole thing. Good. Jackson is eating. That is the first thing we hear.
Well, did you expect something different?
No, in fact, if you weren't taking a bite of a very crunchy tortilla chip at that exact moment, I would be concerned.
Actually, no, this isn't a tortilla chip.
I'm sorry, a sour cream and cheddar Lay's or
not.
Ruffles chip.
It's not.
I'm sorry, a barbecue Arkansas chip.
It's not a chip.
It's PCP.
Okay, good.
No, it's curly fries. And yes, Will, that's not a chip.
I think that I'm with Will on this one.
I love how we're taking sides when we haven't even heard his input yet.
Yeah.
Well, I know Will's input. So. Now you want to get off my fucking lap.
Regardless, hello everyone. Glad you all could be here. Liam did not tell me that he was going to miss, and if he did, I forgot. So he looks like he's online. Maybe he's just getting his computer, getting logged in. So regardless, let's see how everybody's been doing. Dalton, why don't you start?
Well, things have been going. Found out that now that we've dealt with the scabies problem, we have bed bugs. So now we have to deal with that fucking problem.
Oh.
And so we called exterminators in for that, and it's gonna be $1,200 out of the pocket. So that's gonna be fun to deal with. And it's a 3-day process essentially. One of the days we have to be out of the house for 4 hours, another one 10 hours, and then another one 4 hours again. So that's gonna be fucking just troublesome, especially with me, because it will most likely be the hours of when I want to sleep. So I'm just gonna cry during those days. It's gonna be fantastic. So, but it's whatever. I got pizza today, and
Lucky.
I also have a chicken sub sitting on my counter because I'm like, I'm gonna be the only one in the house tonight, so I'm gonna pick out. It's gonna be great. And I got Jack and Coke. And friend's birthday was Tuesday, and she enjoyed the gift that I gave her. And I'm down $400, so there we go.
It's an expensive gift.
Well, it was originally a $200 gift card, but then I lost the first gift card somehow. I had to rebuy it, so down $400.
My friends are lucky if I tell them happy birthday. There.
Yeah.
I'm much more liable to tell like an acquaintance happy birthday than I am my friends, because my friends just understand that they're my friends and they know the territory that comes with.
Well, may or may not consider her more than a friend, so that may help with that thought. So.
To be fair, that seems like less of a reason to spend money. But yes, I get what you're saying.
Anyways, that has
Jackson,
been what is up with me.
how are your curly fries that are extremely crunchy, apparently?
1 second. Delicious. Thank you for asking.
Good.
My week has been a myriad of ups and downs. That I got assigned my new class, which will be starting next week on Wednesday. It's going to be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. So excited for that app development.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make a ton of money off some mobile game that you create and pay all the rest of us to just play games with you all the time, forever?
I'm actually considering making one that you might be interested in, Jordan.
Okay.
A GM compendium.
Okay. There's a couple of ones out there, especially since you'd also be competing directly with Wizards that just released their online compendium.
No. Like, it's not like for any stupid. It's just to show. I want to make an app with them so that they can get an idea of how an actual production process would work.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds like fun.
I say it's been, and also I've had some downs. I bought Divinity.
Well.
God fucking damn it! I can't stop it.
One of us.
No, shut up.
It's so good though.
It's fun and it's so satisfying when you win.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, those losses hurt.
Yeah.
Because you're always like so fucking close.
You know what's even better is when you get a win and then you go to a stupid area and get killed by something stupid and realize
And then you forgot to quick save. Yeah. No, that's happened.
Yeah.
And by me, I mean Jordan. Jordan forgot to save.
Oh yeah, you know how many times I fought Pontius?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the entire time I was watching anime last night, which was like 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I fought him so hard, killed him finally. I'm finishing it off. I'm staring at my TV screen right now, plotting my next move against the Baron. I just murdered his wife, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good game, man.
God, it is good.
It's so
good, and I like it. It gets really dark sometimes in very unexpected places.
Yeah.
Grade.
Yep.
I still can't get over fucking Ebenezer.
Yeah, that's certainly one of the worst ones, I think.
The worst, I think.
There are a couple of others though. I would say that the Orc town has one or maybe even two that are like not specifically dealing with that particular subject, because obviously that's abhorrent, but it plays the gray area well enough that you're not sure how to feel about it. You just know that you feel bad about the entire situation.
Like that one was like I was, and then here's the thing too is like I'm just thinking when I was fine I was like, do these other guys know?
Right. Yeah. Do all of these other ghosts around him, are they aware that he is a cannibal child molester? Yeah. So,
who apparently commits genocide, on occasion.
Right, yeah, just occasional Hannibal Lecter genocide. Yeah.
Speaking of Hannibal Lecter is where I got the inspiration for Hannibal.
The worst part is they try to dull that piece of information by telling you through an adorable cat voice.
Yeah, no, that was the thing. Is I love the pet talk perk when I got it because I didn't really think much of it.
Dude, there's legitimate like hardcore lore and quests you will miss if you don't have that ability.
Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
I learned that immediately when I talked to one of them, and like they would told me this whole. I did it for the biggest reason was because I noticed that these rats have names,
Right. Yep.
and
Yep.
I was immediately was like, I should get the pet talk perk because that sounds like an interesting thing, and like they'll help you through shit. They
Yep.
lead you through all this, and without a doubt, God, though. There's also the mortician thing, which I'm kind of like, about.
Yeah. No, again, the best part about the entire thing that you've just said, Jackson, is you're not even out of the first area yet. There are
Yeah.
still 2 full-size maps to explore, plus a bunch of other locations inside of those that you like get teleported to or are underground, etc., etc.
Yeah, and also just sorry, I love my AI. Like I have Roderick. I don't like to change the main character's name, so they already got it set up.
Oh,
Especially
right.
with
So,
the-
yeah.
I have
So you have
Roderick
your
and
2 main.
Scarlet.
Yeah.
But I have Roderick on no AI because I like to imagine that's me or like that's the character I'm playing.
Right.
You know? But I have the other girl set up on I think Scoundrel.
Mm-hmm.
Good God, Scoundrel is such a dick.
So the best part, Jackson, is each one of those AIs have different voices and different ways that they interact with the entire game.
Yeah, no, it's like you can change their voices too.
Yep.
But
Pretty cool.
no, I think one of the crowning achievements is the first 20 minutes. When I finally got the first, I think, choice with them was the this dude saying, "Hey, should I steal this fish? She's not looking." And then like I'm like, "No, you shouldn't steal that fish. You're gonna get caught." And then like my AI partner's like, "No, let him do it. What's one fish gonna hurt?" And so like I lose the rock paper scissors, and
Yeah.
he takes the fish, and then a guard immediately comes up and says, "Did you see him take that fish?" And then I'm like, "All right, well I might as well no." And then she's like, "What are you talking about? He should pay for his crimes." I lose the rock paper scissors, so we basically just did this to the dude. Steal it. He did it, officer.
Yeah. It's fan-fucking-tastic, man. Good game. Yeah, you're lots of replayability too. There's depth to that game that is not spoken of enough, I think, in modern RPGs.
It makes me want to play the next one that's coming out. When's it coming out?
The 14th in 13 days.
Indeed.
My computer's not going to be good enough to play it too. That pisses me off.
Rip.
We're still rebuilding a PC.
They will definitely port it to console at some point. Sure.
No, I'm gonna get it up on PC. But
Okay. I'm pretty sure you said I'm going to get that for PC, but I didn't understand you because your mouth was full.
what are you talking about?
Good. Okay. Jackson's muted for a little while he eats. Will, tell us all about yourself.
Hi, my name's Will.
Yeah, from the beginning,
I live in
everything.
England.
Hi, Will.
Hello, William.
Asked me to tell you about myself, so
Yes, continue. No, I wasn't kidding. Continue.
yes, I'm the illegitimate Prince of England,
Good. Good
Um,
start.
which basically means that they keep me in hiding, whilst everyone else in the royal family gets all the press time. So, which just means that I get to stay home and, read and do
Yeah,
stuff. On
you get to live on your little island and
Yeah,
occasionally
exactly.
practice archery. Now, I have a question about archery. I know we talked about it's over, but did you ever practice archery while riding your mini bike? I mean, scooter. Like, was there any mounted archery practice?
Yeah, we've got to
Good.
become new to the times. So instead of riding a horse with archery, ride scooters with archery. So,
Makes sense. It's efficient and does not
Yeah,
endanger
totally.
the livelihood of the
everyone involved.
Right. Correct.
I mean, if you're dedicated enough, there's no reason you can't joust on foot.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, if they can do it with office chairs, you can pretty much do it with anything.
Yeah, certainly.
What else has been going on this week, though, Will, for realsies?
No, I've been having a quiet time recently, which is good, I guess. No news is good news. So
No news is good news. Sounds great to me. Moving along, Brian, hello.
Hi.
Tell us all about your week. What's been going on? What's been going on with you?
War of the Chosen came out. There hasn't really been a week because of that, so yeah.
Good. Blended together in one giant multi-rotation day.
Multicolored, yes. It was fantastic. It was great.
Have you completed the entire DLC? Or I should say, have you completed a run with the DLC included?
Yes. Favoring one faction, the Reapers. Now I have to go for the other faction and then a third playthrough with the other one, which is I'm not sure who I'm gonna save for last. Probably the Templars, because they're pretty cool. They have like dual psych swords. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say a lot of good things. Like really, like the Templar is like one of the most powerful, cool factions.
Oh yeah, basically you get to hit someone and then just be invincible the next turn, just because you want to be.
Seems good in XCOM, where literally walking can kill you.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. It's fantastic. You don't move. You stay like right in the middle of the map, and you just don't take damage. It's great. Real useful.
Yeah, seems it. That's good. So just War of the Chosen, XCOM.
I tried the Destiny 2 beta. That was pretty fun. A lot of PoE with the significant other for a little while, and that's about it. Mostly XCOM. Lots of video games this week. Lots and lots of video games this week.
I wish that I could say the same.
Unfortunately.
Same.
Megan.
Hello.
Tell us all about your first couple of days of school.
Yay. I worked all week, but Thursday was the first day with the new kiddos. So I had them yesterday and today, first 2 days of school. Man, work is tiring. I'll just throw that out there.
Now, for the class, Megan, remind us again how long you haven't had to work.
Almost 2.5 months.
Okay, good. So for 2.5 months, what have you been doing?
Not a whole lot. And then, but that even makes it harder, I feel like.
No, that's
again.
Yeah, that's
just
my
kept
point.
Working, it wouldn't been a big deal, but anyway, I don't know. Seems like a good group of kids. Obviously they're on their best behavior the first few days. So we'll see how quickly that degrades.
I can't wait.
Some amazing stories for you all, as per usual. But at the moment, they're good. Good stuff. We'll see how it goes. And probably immediately following this game, I'm going to sleep. So.
But you don't have to go in tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Saturday.
No, I'm just tired, man.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, yes, track.
She's just weak.
I'm just weak. That's all.
Teacheritis has you then, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, that's fantastic. Anything else besides that leading up to that? Your past 2 days of
played any games because I haven't had time, and I watched a tiny bit of anime. That's about it.
Yeah, how was the anime?
Well, we got to season 2, and I don't like the new intro. It makes me sad. There's not enough dancing.
Of Assassination Classroom, for those that are not following along at home.
Oh boy. It's such a delight,
Yeah.
isn't it, Megan?
It's so
Also-
good. The story's so good, but like I said, the other intros are so much better, and now this one just has 0 dancing, and I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just has cardboard cutouts of all the kids, but like a
Yeah.
million of them.
Yeah, I don't get it. We have a lot of conspiracy theories going about what we think it's going to end with, but I know. Don't tell me. I'm gonna be so mad.
I assume it was Jackson talking. I still have him muted because he was being.
Yes, that is Jackson.
You can unmute him. He's okay now.
Okay. I trust Megan's word on it.
How kind of you, Megan.
Thank you.
I'll allow it. I'll allow
Certainly
it.
no one else was going to do that.
No,
The savagery. The
that's,
savagery.
I mean that's probably true. Yeah, no one else would have said that.
Because I forgot.
Yeah, you know. Oh shit, stun that motherfucker.
Also, if you haven't seen it, I've found the greatest Boku no Hero meme that has ever existed. So,
God damn it.
Yeah,
if you
it's
haven't
great.
watched
In fact,
it and you just got here,
I'm
please do yourself a favor.
during the break, I think that's going to be break music.
It should
just
be.
on repeat a couple of times.
There is a 10-hour version, by the
Yes.
way.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
want me to
that's-
link that for
that's
you.
the one that I think will just be on repeat for break music.
Oh, jeez.
Perfect. Excellent.
Crunchyroll might DMCA my Twitch stream, but it'll be fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Worth it.
It'll be worth.
Worth it. Last but certainly not least, Liam, hello.
Howdy.
How have you been, sir? Tell us all about it.
Let's see. The wedding went well.
right,
I was
you
late,
attended
but
the
I
wedding.
arrived in time to partake in the blessing, so it was still legal and legitimate.
Good.
Um,
I'm glad that you were the linchpin for that, though.
I mean, aren't I always?
I believe this is true.
Yeah.
Right? What else has been going on? Finally got back to the Thursday game that I've been running. It was a hilarious gong show. They froze and stole some hallowed water from a ruined temple, considered using it to bomb a Tyrannosaurus to make friends with it because it had calming properties. And we have a Tabaxi monk barbarian hybrid who's decided that the best way of causing damage is grappling people, running up the side of a cliff, and then just dead dropping off.
So question. I have never heard the phrase gong show. Can you...
Wait, you don't know what the gong
Wait, you
show
don't know the
is?
gong with David Tell?
No. I've
What?
Jordan!
never heard of the
I
gong
am-
show before.
Okay,
Oh.
so
Sad
all you
for
need
you.
to,
I'm
all you
with
need
you,
for
Jordan.
context here is that it refers to a situation where, in theory, something impressive, talented, coordinated is supposed to be going on, and everything has gone to hell, and there is a gong that is being rung to indicate, please get off the stage, and you keep
Got it.
ringing it, and they are not getting off the stage.
Got it. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
Essentially the entire siege campaign. That's
like 70% of the
Yeah.
season.
Okay, good.
Speak for yourself.
So, like...
Last time I checked, I'm doing
so, like,
fabulous.
this might be the gong show. If we were just, like,
That is precisely a good example of a gong
throwing
show.
it out there.
He tries to do science, and he instead burns down our house and makes an enemy of our closest ally, who is
you know-
probably a vampire.
It's been a
Listen.
while since I've done anything with. Maybe I should.
Listen, hold on. Like I said, I redeemed myself with the bomb.
by setting off another bomb.
I mean, in fairness, that was really cool. You did also kind of summon, like, the devil's younger brother to us, but
That was a 10% chance of happening, maybe 5.
that was a 100% chance of happening, and you knew it.
Yeah, but I said 10%.
Anyway, yeah, that's more or less how my
Uh,
week's been going.
Also, in other news, let's put a red X over this real quick. Okay, there we go.
Stop it! You're so savage.
Absolutely barbaric.
Just real quick, had to put a red X over that. For no particular. Okay, good. Forever.
Don't worry, Megan. I'll send you something to cheer you up.
He's lying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that is not
Oh
true.
God, is that a threat?
I just sent it to you.
Is it spiders?
It steals.
Aw, it's cute.
Listen to the music.
Oh no, I'm scared.
My week has been my week's been pretty good. Just work was kind of. I'm on that new schedule, so I'm still trying to adjust. I'm used to having the day off before Siege to do things, so my things got kind of crammed into the 2 hours that I was at home. So I am also a little bit tired myself. I will probably also be retiring very shortly after this game, but regardless of that, watched some anime. Assassination Classroom was great. Favorite episode so far is the Nagisa cross-dressing in a nightclub episode.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's amazing. Will has muted himself, I assume, to laugh uproariously.
Trap.
Yeah, it was a pretty good episode.
That was actually a really good string of episodes, because then Karma.
Yeah, right. Karma
and,
did
frickin'
the
Karma's my favorite.
wasabi mustard.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna talk about how Americans we name our children, but then when I was reading it, and his name was literally Karma.
What was the joke? There was a joke somewhere there about his name that I made, and it was really funny, but I forget it now, so it's not gonna be impactful.
Karma, or who we were fighting at the time?
No, Karma, like specifically Karma. But yeah, no, great series of episodes. Really happy with the end of season 1, except for the fact that I still think she should have killed that dude. Because I always say she, regardless of whether or not I'm thinking about it or not. I really think he should have just killed that dude. We were talking about this. And spoilers if you haven't seen the last episode, or the last episode of, or the second to last episode of season 1 of Assassination Classroom. But some guy from the past shows up and like sends Nagisa, the protagonist, into like this super bloodlust crazy rage. But then Nagisa like calms his emotions and defeats him without killing him. What I was saying is what would have been better is if Nagisa calmed his emotions and then just instantly killed with no fanfare, no flashbacks, no rhyme, no reason, just instantly killed the dude, no fight at all, and then just like walked off. And then season 2, Koro Sensei had to like bring that back, right? Like the fall of Nagisa, right, would have been the season name, because then he had actually killed somebody, and dealing with the consequences of murdering somebody in cold blood would have been a fun story arc.
Would have been a much cooler one.
Yeah, because like what I said, in fact, Megan can attest to this. I said, "They're fucking assassins. Kill somebody. Fuck." So
the things I know and the things you don't.
So I'm excited for where that's going to go. Because it is a good show. I wasn't upset with the way they did it. I just thought it would have been cooler if they had just, like, literally, if Nagisa had just killed him, just straight up, like no monologue, nothing. Like the music just stops. There's just no music, and then he's just dead. And then we just see Nagisa like walking with a bloody knife off the helipad. That would have been great. That would have been fantastic. But
there's still time.
Still time, yes. So anyway, speaking of killing tons of people, last time on Siege.
Smooth segue there.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I was planning that one a little bit. Speaking of killing lots of things, there was some action going on in our game last week that involved kind of a three-pronged combat, let's say. One involving the overtaking of the West Gate over in this area from the Bear Riders and the Lizardman Cavalry, being led by Kree and assisted by Farron. The group of you had successfully taken the West Gate, and also due to some swift work by the cavalry units, had been able to push into the city a little bit. You hadn't quite fully controlled the West Gate area as of yet, but that can certainly be like the next step to take to secure the entire West Gate Suitgarten district. And the two things to think about here are there was some pretty heavy losses. I think that the group, out of the there was a total of maybe 400 units there. You guys lost roughly 150 to, or 100 to 150 full cavalry units, kind of divided between the two sides. So there was some pretty substantial losses in assailing the gate, as there is when you assail a city that is supposed to be impregnable. But it would have been far worse had there not been distractions at many of the other entrances, up to and including the giant explosion, the Weirdstone explosion that occurred up at the North Bridge, which effectively, as far as you guys are aware, cut off all the reinforcements to the from the vast horde of demons and undead that were positioned outside of the city. Upon doing this, it had drawn a powerful entity, an avatar of Zinch, to slay the usurpers that had done this. And turning towards it, we had Morella valiantly standing in the front and getting the shit beat out of her. And Hannibal...
I wouldn't say get beat the shit out of. I'm still half health. No big deal.
Right.
Anyway.
Along with Kara Malia doing their best to remain alive. Successfully this time. And Hannibal kind of leading the charge as far as the damage dealing and taunting, and actually Hannibal being able to land the final blow on the creature and toss it into the giant gorge that surrounds the city of Middenheim, never to be seen again. And with that, Hannibal had basically collapsed under the sheer kind of weight of the, or I should say the enormity of the task that himself and his few companions had been able to overcome. And it should be clear as well that Hannibal, you're still under the effects, and will be for probably some time, of the power that has been... It's not that the power has been taken from you. It's that the source of your power
cut
has...
out there, buddy.
Hello? Hello?
I think he just dropped.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, no, everything's fine. My internet's totally fine. Nothing happened at all, to be fair.
We're fine here. How are you?
Yeah. No, you gotta wait for the pause, right? And then be like, how are you doing today? But no, really, everything was fine on my end, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and Jordan, we'd already kind of talked about it before, Anna.
But yeah, so yeah, it's not that you have been drained, it's that the source of your power has been drained. And so every time you try to tap into it, it's going to carry some risk until the source of your power can recover, which will take some time. It's not going to be just like we go to sleep and everything's okay again.
Yeah, no, this was a big thing.
Yeah.
I'd rely entirely on sorcery for a while.
Yeah, or at least as much on it as possible, as minimally on that other source of your power possible while still surviving, of course. But it was a great victory, a resounding victory in the north. Whereas there was a minor victory in the west, I would say that the north was a resounding victory, along with the help of the resistance that had risen up in that area, in kind of the Eastgate district area. It leaps and bounds had been made towards securing that. The resistance itself doesn't have the manpower or the fighting style to secure an area, but they definitely have weakened that tremendously, along with the cutoff of reinforcements, obviously, from the north, and the defeat of the Avatar, which is no longer an enemy that you will have to face for the duration of the siege.
I would like to just say that the West has already secured the largest area. So
Wave that
Just
penis, Will.
saying.
Just wave that big old penis you got.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, you did good,
gentlemen,
Harambe.
open the
You
bathroom.
did good.
Somebody's feeling a little unappreciated.
Ladies and gentlemen, unzip your pants.
Is
The
it-
pissing contest has started.
I mean, I assume the person who's feeling unappreciated is Noct, who did all of the heavy lifting.
True.
Right.
Noct
Absolutely.
basically did everything. That is important over there at the Westgate.
You mean the Westgate that has a bunch of holes in it now?
Yeah. There's like
I'm sorry, did you
It's-
fight a demigod?
gonna need some repair. Yeah, that's true. There was no demigod at the Westgate yet. And then finally, at the east, it wasn't so much a battle or something extremely climactic that happened. It was the product of good preparation and situational awareness that led the Aelin and Jericho and Daniela to a, I would say, dominant victory in the east, where they were able to successfully defend the priests and priestess of Ulrich, who had summoned on this day of the autumn solstice the power of their deity to reconstruct the bridge. So while one bridge had been taken down, another had been built in its place, and I think that the balance in the universe is all good again. But having dealt with most of the curious various wizards and spellcasters that had come from the Altmarket district or Altmarked district to investigate what the source of this power was, slaying two of the great enemies fairly quickly, and subduing and capturing a third. And it's kind of a point of talking here, because we found out some interesting things about this particular third person. I will right here. She's also no longer. Let me take that off. So you have a prisoner of war now, as it were. But most importantly, Hannibal and Morella and Kira Malia had been able to link up again with the party, as well as the scouts and quick movers of Cahill's army had been able to make it up to the Eastgate Bridge to come across to kind of form a vanguard. So you actually have the largest allied fighting force inside of the city right now of about 850 strong. And it's about an even mix between the human scouts that came from, marched all the way from Altdorf, and also of the rest of the Skaven foot soldiers were sent here as well. So those are the two units. You can see them kind of highlighted in green there that exist within your command at this point. Obviously, they have their own leadership and they're going to try and do their own thing, but you being PCs have a semblance of...
I assume that just now when you said
Control over them.
Skaven, you didn't mean Skaven.
did I say Skaven? I meant Lizardmen. I apologize.
Cool.
You should apologize.
Yeah, I
Sorry
apologize.
on your behalf, Cree.
Yeah, no, they are lizardmen, not Skaven. Apologize.
It would be bad if they were Skaven.
Yeah, 400 Skaven marching into the city would be bad at this time. So the choice is there. You guys have probably the best opportunity to secure a district at this point. Whichever one, the Eastgate kind of lies in between the middle of them. And this is the part of the game where, without doing too much more talking, I talk about how we're gonna play Risk on this map real quick. Austin. Being tactical about it, and while that is fun to a degree, I don't think that we would all find that fun for the next 2 to 3 sessions of just that, because I do want to progress the story and have cool, awesome moments crop up for the crew. But I also want to make sure that we get in some downtime as well, that we get in some rest, some narrative, some, licking our wounds and going back out there time. While still understanding that there is the threat always of a counterattack and reinforcements finding another way into the city and having to defend locations and stuff like that. That's obviously still going to be a thing, but I want to make sure that everybody's aware that we're going to kind of move as fluidly as possible through this. But as you can see, I've marked off all of the districts based on what they are and where they are. Basically, it's all the ones that are labeled on the standard Middenheim map that we have been talking about all the time. Now, some important notes are controlling each district is essentially just going to give you the plot of land. You don't need to control the entire city in order to win. I'm putting that in air quotes. In order to win the scenario, you just have to complete the objective, which is to rout the opposing army and retake the city. So, with that being said, you might want to set your sights on strategic points within the city. Good examples of this are the entrances to the underground. You'll notice that in the Wind, East Gate, and West Gate, there are entrances to the underground. That can provide you with a tactical opportunity to be able to kind of, move your forces in unseen ways to different parts of the battlefield. Obviously going to be really cool. We know that there is also a holy place located somewhere within Altmarkt that Aelin was previously searching for that, may or may not be revealed when the time is right. That could be something impressive as well. The Great Park as well, with the statue of Ulrich that's been, obviously crushed at this point, but has a strong significance with the people. Ulrich's Mund, which contains Ulrich's Temple. Retaking Ulrich's Temple might grant some divine intervention again from helping Ulrich out, because as we know, working within the city right now are at a minimum 3 separate high gods, right? Like high deities. The Lady of the Lake obviously has a presence here. Shalia with Aelin obviously has a presence here. In fact, I should say 4 too, because Ulrich obviously has a presence, but the other one I was thinking of was obviously Urson has a presence here as well, not only with Morella, but also the Bear Riders that exist here now. They obviously they represent the purest form of Urson, right? Like literal bear warriors. That's about as Urson as it gets.
Indeed.
So, with the Divine having such a direct hand and intervention in the siege here, those locations might be important. Now, the locations that don't have anything in particular hold other forms of value. For example, the Southgate Ostwald district is where the majority of the population lives. So retaking that district might lend to gaining a lot more support from the resistance members that are within the city, right? That may directly tie to maybe you get a resistance unit to kind of operate and move and help you take over certain other things, or gather information or whatever they're going to do. If we look up to the north, Grafsmund and Northgarten, that's where this location and this location, the Freeburg, are very similar, as they are where most of the nobles would reside. So taking those locations would be important strategically, not just because of their location, but because you can find a lot of supplies and wealth and possibly some information there in order to gain a lot of traction and begin your final push. And then obviously the last point to Merchant District. I should speak of the Merchant District as well. Taking over the Merchant District is going to give you the ability to control those facilities, right? Like, we know there's blacksmiths and alchemy shops and laboratories and all this other stuff that you could use to your benefit during the campaign to kind of take over that area. And then last but certainly not least, there's the Palace District. Now, the Palace District is very obviously one of the most important locations and is going to be the hardest to assail. So you guys kind of do want to make sure that your ducks are in a row and you have as much firepower as you can when you go into it. Because that is presumably where Anders and possibly the Necromancer exist. So, I know that was way more talking than I thought I was going to do, but I hope that is clear to everyone. The other concern, obviously, as well, is the bulk of the army has not made it through the South Gate because they were routed by this demon door that still is standing firm and remaining uncontested by anything that Cahill has been able to throw at it. Perhaps that there are some things that the party members could do to affect that outcome without having to have Cahill just throw his men and women directly at the gate to die.
They'll be fine.
I told him not to go.
Yeah, well, he's a dumb noble. What does he know, right?
Wow, be ruder.
I mean, it's true, though.
But he's so handsome.
Well, thank God for that, right?
Yeah. And if you're gonna be
there'd
dumb,
just be nothing for him.
if you're gonna be dumb, you better be pretty. I mean, that's the
I think
that's
a
what
rule, actually.
that's what we've learned today on stream. In fact, stream is over. That's it, guys. We've learned the moral of the story.
I don't know
Alright,
about
cool.
moral.
See you guys next week. Bye.
So, are there any questions on kind of how this is going to work out, with the exception of taking over these areas is not going to be like it's not going to be just like a battle, right? Sometimes it will be, sometimes you'll have to overcome some odds, but remember, you guys have the upper hand right now, and they haven't really like kind of gathered their forces, and so moving swiftly in this scenario is probably a good idea. But I do, since we're already 47 minutes into this, when I hand it over to the players to see the immediate aftermath of kind of the battles that were taking place. I think I want to start with Kree and Farron, because we had briefly talked about setting up like barricades and doing all of this stuff, but I want to know like the role playing aspect, or the story portion of the aftermath of your battle, like taking an account of losses, Kree, which were pretty severe. Like, I think that you get a head count, and there are a lot of lizardmen and bear bodies that now exist at the bottom of the gorge, right? Like, that's an unfortunate fact. And I think that knowing that fact, Kree, that you don't have enough men to hold this area for possibly as long as you need to. Because if they bring any kind of strong force to bear, you're going to have to rely on a little bit of luck to get through. Which obviously they're not capable of in the immediate moment, but it is a concern, obviously. But also, Farron, you are, for all intents and purposes, separated from everyone else, with the exception of Kree, right? Like, this is really, you haven't seen Kree in weeks, and this is the first time that you've seen him again. And as I think we described, Kree, you look a bit different. You've changed a little bit, both in your demeanor and your looks. You've aged, as it were. And I would venture to say, kind of come into your own as a general and a leader of these these lizardmen and through them the bear riders as well. So the two of you kind of conducting all of this work, is there any specific thing that you would like to do, any specific thing that you would like to say, or maybe to try and like assist the because not all of those casualties that you see there that are checked off on those two units are dead, right? Like a lot of them are also probably injured as well, like people that are now missing limbs, or have multiple arrow wounds, or are getting becoming infected with some disease or whatever. That's just the show of capable fighting force, let's say. So there's a vast amount of casualties as well that need to be dealt with, and how are you going to deal with them, etc., etc. So what do the two of you think? Does anyone have anything in particular?
Actually, we don't really have time to deal with casualties at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, we've taken this small part of the city, but we're still in the advantage with our surprise. We need to do what we can. And obviously, knowing Cahill is coming through the south gate, Kree thinks very much so the best option is to charge straight down the main streets and go take that south gate.
Yeah, because you're not restricted to like move district to district, right? Like if you want to, you can certainly move through the areas. Now the difference with and this is where I'm going to get a little mechanical here on you. So I've kind of designed this encounter to be, you can fight, you can try to travel through stealthily, you can try and like traverse terrain. But there's going to be some rolls that are going to have to be made by both you and the troops just to maintain your composure and formations and stuff like that. So in this scenario, and I'm warning you, obviously you can still do it. I'm not telling you not to do it. But I'm going to say that if you're taking the troops and kind of like going on a raid through town, basically, which is kind of what it sounds like you're doing, or, trying to rush through town, there's probably going to be like some survival checks so that, these small pockets of Norsemen and defenders that you run into don't take more and more casualties from you. And based on the level of survival check, obviously, is going to determine if there are any of those casualties or anything like that.
Makes sense.
But I think that your plan is probably solid. So then I guess the question is fair. And if you see Kree like rounding up the able-bodied troops to charge towards the south gate through the city, the city way better than Kree does. In fact, Kree, you're probably like looking at the position of the sun to try and figure out where south is. Mm-hmm. So obviously Farron, the city much better, but I would like to know, at this point, you're just leaving kind of the casualties to maybe escape out of the gate. Is that the plan, Kree? Like, are the injured just to fend for themselves, maybe hide somewhere until we can get the main part of the army in to come rescue them? Or are they to like maybe go exit out of the west gate and go back to the swamps if they can to tend to their injuries? Like what's the plan with them? And Farron, how is there a conversation that's between the two of you in reference to this plan?
I mean, I'm still kind of on the war march idea. The casualties aren't really in my mind yet, as in there's not time to take them into account until the battle's sort of over.
Sure, yeah. We're still in battle mode. Like, we don't have time to do a head count. Like, we just gotta go.
Yeah.
Well, forces can.
If we get the injured to stay by the west gates, then they can at least buy some time before they close off the gates completely.
Do you say this to Kree? Or do you just like start doing that, right? Do you start coordinating that yourself?
No, I recognize that Kree is the general in this scenario.
Well, Farron, do you want to keep them at the gate and maybe have them try and defend it with what little they have? Or do you want them to run out? I'm not in the mindset to take care of wounded at the moment.
I understand that. It appears the South Gate hasn't been as successful as some people may have hoped. I see that being Jericho.
Okay, cool.
So also you're absolutely correct, Farron, because if we remember the very end of last session, when the magisters of each, or like the signalers of each force, there were green sparks sent up from both the west and the east gate to signal victory, but there were red sparks sent up from the south gate to signal defeat. And so yeah, you know that the south gate has not been breached and still holds a vast defensible structure. And again, without getting it open, you'll never get the main bulk of the force into the city with any reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the plan seems solid. It's all about, do you leave the injured to fend for themselves? Do you leave some of the forces back to defend them? How does that go down? And obviously, Kree, like Farron said, you're the commanding officer in this scenario, so you would be the one to make that decision. If you just take everybody that can ride, come with me. The rest of you find a safe place to either bunker down if you can't travel, or get out if you can. Right? Is that really the scenario here?
I think that is actually Kree's option. Just find a house, leave if you can. If you can't, hide. This district, we're not planning on keeping it.
Right. Yeah. This place will be overrun. We're not going to try and hold it. We can't with this force. So, hunker down, stay safe, etc., etc. Okay. Cool. So I think that the group of you begins moving, and with your able-bodied forces, of which you probably, it looks here like you have about 260 to 300 able-bodied cavalry units still. Somewhere in that range. Obviously, these numbers are abstracted a bit. So 250 to 300 able-bodied soldiers, which is certainly enough to make a march through town without too much, because everything's still kind of in chaos, and doesn't have a whole lot of semblance of order yet. So you're taking advantage of that, obviously. So, Kree, if you're gonna march all the able-bodied soldiers, including Farron, do you ride on Noct with Kree, or do you lead them from foot? Because you don't have a mount. Now, Farron, you could find one. There are probably riderless mounts around.
The bear.
There are probably some of each riderless mounts, if you so should try and...
I can't hear you, Jordan.
Hello? God damn it. What is going on today, Internet?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
just
Will.
you,
Oh,
Will.
it's just Will? Oh, I'm
Will's
sorry.
broken.
I'm sorry for everybody else's eardrums. I was getting really mad.
Hello?
Hi, Will. Are you okay?
Will, hello?
Okay.
How was...
I don't know what happens, but...
Okay, welcome back.
The last
So-
thing I heard you say was, I don't have a mount, but I could.
Yeah, so yeah, you could, because there are riderless mounts of both species in this instance. So you could try and find one and see if it's tame enough for you to ride it, understanding these are not horses. It is a giant bear or a giant lizard. Basically Velociraptor. But
Yeah.
you are fully capable of riding. It's just I'm telling you, there may be a role involved to acquire a mount here.
Be Chris Pratt.
Kree would like to assist Farron in
Correct.
getting a mount, so he can come with him.
Yeah, so I think that Kree, you could assist him if it were a cold one mount. But Farron, if it were a bear mount, Kree would not be of much assistance.
Take Shadowfire. Become one with the bears.
No, I'm
Become a bear, polymorph.
I'm of Kislev sentiments, so I feel inspired on riding a bear into battle.
You are Kislevite after all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So why don't you roll me an animal handling check with advantage because you're inspired, and we'll see how well you roll. See if you can calm a bear whose bonded rider has just been killed.
15.
Surprisingly, a 15 is exactly what I was looking for.
Yes.
Good inspiration.
Whew, okay.
So, being a 15, I think you walk up, and you kind of like, you're probably surveying the wounded, but also you know you need to move, and you know that if Kree plans on like force marching, you're not going to be able to keep up. And I think that you walk up to, also let me know if it's better now when Will talks. Will, can you talk real quick?
Hello?
But like actually say words. Like, more than just hello.
What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning?
So
Your bard
wallet and
license
kick him into the
revoked.
river.
So just so you know, that was actually just a trick to get you to sing. That was the whole point of that entire.
That worked.
Okay.
Yes, it worked. So I think that you arrive on there's a woman, a Kisleite woman who is kind of lying, and you can see like she's lying on her back and kind of like propped up on one elbow, and you can see there's blood kind of covering the front of her, and just kind of like she coughs and blood kind of comes up. As soon as you walk up on her, you know that like, yeah, she's dead. Like, even if you were to, she's basically dead as far as the D&D term is concerned, but she's still like barely alive, right? And I think that as you walk up, basically she's just failed her third death saving throw, if we were to be mechanical about it. And you kind of like walk up, and as you approach, I think you see this shadow kind of like stand up on both legs and kind of like growl at you, just as you're like approaching, and you kind of like put your hands up, and the giant bear just kind of crashes down and looks at you, and kind of like looks at the rider, and you can see like the pain in the creature's eyes, and then like maybe you take the woman right in your arms, and you kind of lay her in a comfortable place, and like you pull a cloth up over her all the time, like kind of watching the bear, and the bear sees you do this and then kind of looks at you, and then you're like, okay, and then maybe you like approach slowly, and you do the hand extended thing, and the bear kind of like lets you touch its snout, and you see that it's mounted, like it's got a saddle and all its saddlebags are full, and you know you pet the bear for a while. I'm running your hands through like its coarse, thick hair, and it lets out kind of a mournful, like almost howl, like and you know that the woman has passed at this time, and you whisper sweet nothings in its ear, and you place your foot in the stirrup, and you boost yourself up, and for a moment the bear kind of like shakes, but it like kind of turns its head, and you can see into its large kind of blackened eye. And you can tell that like it understands enough that the gesture you did for his previous rider, that you can now ride this bear without it killing you.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah. And so you kind of like march up to Kree, like riding this bear, and you're probably like kind of wobbling a little bit in the saddle because it's not made for you. It's kind of large and a little bit wide, like your legs are spread wide because the bear's obviously, its girth is much larger than that of a typical horse. So you're like trying to get comfortable and like trying to position like all your weapons and your instruments are like jangling, and but the bear kind of like you direct the bear. It responds well to commands. I don't think you're well, actually I should ask, I guess, how good of a rider are you just in general? Has Farron ridden a lot before?
I mean,
Well,
yes,
sure he
on
has.
horses. But yeah, it's definitely I'm subpar whilst trying to control a bear.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, like, there's some confusion, like you like kick the sides as you would, or like you squeeze your knees as you would to make a horse go forward, and the bear just kind of like shuffles, and then you realize like you gotta like lean forward, and the bear starts walking forward, and like you're using the yeah, there's some growing pains there, but at least you have a mount that can keep up at this point. So once you arrive back with Kree, you and the remaining riders, cavalry, begin to march off. Now you're going to be marching, or like I'm assuming like you're going to go at a trot, right? Like it's going to be a quickened pace, right, Kree?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Nope, not the undead bear. That's not the one I want to give you. Here's Barry. Make him look different.
Yeah.
Cool. So, why don't Kree, since you're leading, why don't you roll me a survival check?
I would use my magical essence to help with a bardic inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I am inspired on this.
Do you play a marching tune for everybody in the formation? Is that how this goes?
Yes, exactly.
Good. All right, so go ahead, and this is to just to confirm, your destination is basically going to be the Southgate district.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably
Okay.
just heading along the main roads.
Yeah, it's cool. So like the final destination is probably going to be like here, where you can then be in position to assault the gate, right at the edge of the two districts. Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So go ahead and make me that survival check. But you have advantage, or you don't have advantage. You have the bardic inspiration. Sorry.
And I am truly inspired on this march,
Okay.
so I do.
You also have advantage.
Yeah.
Damn. Do you want to add to that?
Yes.
Because remember, the better you roll here, the less casualties it's gonna be.
Okay.
Cool.
27.
27 is not bad. So I'm going to then roll /roll d20, and you are lost a few percentage of men, so +3, and you're moving through 2 hostile territories, so I'll add another +2. Cool. Oh yeah, no problem. So their roll to counter your 27 is a 9. So you easily charge through the city. I think that like there's probably like a couple of Norsemen that like come out like they're not even in armor. They like have like a rolling pin. One of them's got an apron on, and you just like smash his head as you drive. Like it's just drive-bys the whole way to Southgate.
As it should be.
Yeah, no, it's they literally you don't lose any men because that difference is so high on your path down to the Southgate. So I'm gonna move you all down there. That will be your area of contention. So that process, it's not instantaneous, right? It takes a little bit of time to kind of get there, but you will have a chance to perhaps save the day with the battle that's in South, which, even though the Red Sparks were sent up, that was probably just sounding the retreat. The battle is probably not over yet by the time you get there.
Yeah, I think as we are approaching our current destination, I would say to one of the mages, I throw up the amber sparks.
Okay.
Just to signal to Cahill that we are coming to help.
Yeah, exactly. And so you throw them up, and I think we see it's actually not Cahill. It is Jeez, I haven't said this guy's name in forever, so I actually forgot it. Stand by. This one? This one? Where is it this one?
Are you taking the
This one?
tactician one?
Ah, I found him. It's actually Lord Grauenberg.
Yes, him.
So that's savage.
My God.
Well, we're not friends anymore.
So yeah, we see Lord Grauenberg, who's kind of like taken up the mantle after Cahill was injured, and he sees it and he says, you know, we have assistance. We're gonna have assistance from inside the gate, and so I think he rallies the troops. Right, he starts swinging his sword about and running up and down the ranks, and prepare another charge, and like they go in, and I think that as this is happening, we see like burst from the medical tent. We see Cahill, who's like probably still got the arrow like sticking out of his like chest area, and he's like bandaged and his shirt is off, and like he's like, get my armor, and there's like nurses and medics like trying to like pull him back into the tent, and he's like trying to like physically fight them off, but you can tell he's kind of weak. Like he's just moving kind of sluggishly, and like eventually he kind of like tires out and kind of wobbles a little bit, and they're able to like push him back into the tent. But Lord Grauenberg rallies the troops, and green sparks fly up to signal that they received your message, Farron, and they will be renewing a charge with your assistance. Now, of course, if it doesn't go well, that's going to be 2 losses for Cahill's army, which is going to be devastating. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when you guys decide to do that.
Yeah, no pressure, no fuck up.
Yeah, no pressure, don't fuck up. This could be the most important thing you've ever done with your entire life.
Probably is.
Okay.
So, with all of that action going on, it takes some time to get all that done. So I want to jump over to the rest of the crew over here at the East Gate. Now,
I'm currently piggybacking on Marilla.
yeah, right. Marilla's like carrying you, right, piggyback style, because you're all
wait, do you want to
exhausted
do a
and stuff.
bridal carry? Which I'm fine with either.
Wait, which one?
Bridal carry or piggyback, your choice.
I mean, I think
Wait.
fireman carrier's funnier, but whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, so like
She has a
Hannibal,
point.
every time you have to talk, you have to like turn your head all the way like 180 degrees to talk to anybody, or you're just like
Situation update.
you just like hold up your finger when you're talking, so people know that you're talking because they can't see your face.
They can't see my face normally.
True, good point. So I want to see the first thing, because I don't think we actually got to see it, the reunion. Aelin and Hannibal and Jericho and Morella, you all are reunited, and again, I think that the only thing we really saw was Hannibal was like being like carried by Morella, and Aelin, you like rushed over there to see what was wrong.
I'm fine. I'm tired.
Yeah, so I want to see how that scene plays out. When the group of you walk up, and the men and women from the scout company and the lizardmen force are now like moving across the bridge. They're kind of like packed in, like moving as quickly as possible because speed is of the essence here. But Halen, you can also see on top of Hannibal being carried, Morella's pretty beat up. Kira and Malia both have like some of their clothes or their shields are probably like shattered or torn from the battle. Yeah, they all look way worse for wear than the rest of you. Although Jericho's probably still got a minor cough from the poison fumes he inhaled earlier.
Fine. This is only temporary.
Yeah, like he's been smoking for like 50
yeah,
years.
he's just a chain smoker now. It's fine.
Like 3 packs a day for 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, as I had mentioned previously, Aelin would rush over immediately, showering them with questions about what hurts the most and what happened and how can I help, etc., etc.
When you talk, my ears hurt for some reason.
Aren't you asleep, Hannibal? I thought you were asleep.
You're not very comfortable, Morella.
Yeah, I just drop you on the ground as soon as you say that.
Yeah. Luckily, you
Well,
land and
glad
like
to see you're both not dead.
yeah,
I
like
take it the bridge is gone.
Yes, the bridge is gone. Though it seems like, and she looks over at the bridge, the newly erected bridge. This one is back.